How did this guy create one of the most iconic house records of all time?
You got the love I need to see me through.
And why was it originally made for a weight loss commercial? And who started it all by writing a poem for his lover? I'm Felix Leiter, welcome to Dance Tracks. The conflicting stories and unresolved mysteries behind this song only make it more fascinating. Don't be fooled, this isn't the story of one song. It's a transatlantic chain reaction that somehow created a hit record that should never have existed. This is the incredible story of You Got the Love. To understand it all, we have to go back to Chicago in the early 80s. A young musician, Jamie Principle, is writing a love poem.
I was in a relationship with a young lady by the name of Lisa Harris, and we were pretty serious. And it was the first relationship that I felt was really real for me. When I met her, it just happened. I kind of and when I talk to her still, because we still talk, I tell her if it wasn't for her, these songs wouldn't have been written.
That poem becomes the song Your Love, recorded by Jamie, with vocals later performed by an uncredited singer, Adrienne Jett, and the first mix done by DJ Freddie Gomez. What happens next depends on who you believe, but the most consistent version of events goes something like this. Jamie sends his Your Love demo tape to labels in New York, and they all reject it. But behind the scenes, Freddie Gomez shares the tape with a DJ who's about to change house music forever.
I belong to the same record pool as Frankie, IRS record pool. And so I knew that he was going to show up and pick up his vinyl. I waited for 2 hours until he showed up.
And you the one that gave him a tape.
Right. And I didn't know him. I saw him in the DJ booth, at the warehouse, but I didn't go in there. I introduced myself and I'm like, hey, here's a song that I did a mix to.
Yeah.
Will you listen to it? He looked at it. He's like, okay. And he just popped it in his bag. And that was that.
That was it.
And then that Saturday night, I showed up with my friends.
Yeah.
And about 3 o'clock in the morning, all the lights turned out on the dance floor, which they did that, for certain songs.
Yeah.
And then you hear the arpeggio opening to Your Love. And I lost my I'm like, oh my God, this is the track. This is the track I just did the mix from.
Frankie Knuckles begins editing the track, cutting down the vocals and reshaping it for the dance floor.
Let me just kind of sort of thin this out a bit, and just concentrate on what's sweet about it and what's innocent about it and what's natural about it. And that was Your Love when we first did it. First version that came out was all off of a cassette.
Rumour has it, using a Roland TR-909 he got from Derek May. And in the underground clubs of Chicago, it explodes. Not on vinyl, but on tape. Copied countless times, passed from DJ to DJ, it grew in popularity. Knuckles played it in the warehouse, the club many people say that gave house music its name.
There was this one little sequence line, and it was just like a 3-note line and just repeated. But when that came on, everyone knew that was Your Love. I mean, the crowd, everybody.
It did the rounds for well over a year before its official release, and that fact created a debate that's still being discussed today.
There's always been a rivalry between Jesse Saunders On and Jamie Principle, Your Love.
Yeah.
As the origin of the house music genre. Do you think Your Love was the first house music recording, even though it was not commercially available?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Yes. One reason is because it was actually played at the warehouse. And On was not.
When it finally hits vinyl, the credits don't always tell the full story. Producer Mark Hot Rod Trollan is brought in to beef it up, adding the now iconic bass line inspired by the 1982 Italo disco track Feels Good by Elektra. Released on Persona Records in 1986 as Jamie Principle, Your Love. These are the very first vinyl copies. All previous iterations existed only on tape.
I mean, it's still to this day totally hypnotic. The version of Your Love that got released was not the best one. It was okay.
One that was,
the original still isn't released.
Which I still need to get a copy of that.
Yeah, it's around. I got one. Okay. But it's just on tape because it never was on record.
Then, in 1987, a new version appears, slightly different, with re-recorded vocals by Jamie, and it's titled Frankie Knuckles Presents Your Love, Walton. Walton refers to Jamie Principle's real name, Brian Walton. It seems to be a writer's credit, But Jamie was never signed to Trax Records, so there's an element of music industry foul play here, and music copyright enforcement was seriously lacking at the time. But one thing is for certain, Frankie Knuckles becomes a global icon and Your Love becomes one of the defining records of Chicago house. But this is only half of the story, because the vocal we discover next came from somewhere completely unexpected, and it was so inconsequential that even its singer had forgotten about it. Thousands of miles away in the Bahamas, soul legend Candi Staton is on holiday. Her career has slowed considerably since her 1976 hit, Young Hearts Run Free. But while she's there, she meets American comedian and civil rights activist Dick Gregory. He's launching a weight loss business and needs a song for a commercial.
A recent issue of Ebony magazine featured news about a weight loss clinic in the Bahamas run by black comedian Dick Gregory.
The reason I decided to get involved with him is because he's very dedicated to what he's doing. He's very intelligent and just a beautiful personality-wise. It's just incredible.
Ron is 33 and tips the scales at 700 pounds. Normal clothes are out of the question now. At no charge, Gregory will place Ron high on a fruit juice diet supplemented by nutritional powder.
A British songwriting team, The Source, penned the lyrics to You Got the Love. Candi records the vocal on her return to Chicago with no backing track. Instead of being paid up front, she's offered half of the publishing on the song, an offer that would later prove incredibly valuable. The weight loss advert is never released, but in 1986, this original version of You Got the Love is released on vinyl. It doesn't take off, not in clubs or on the radio.
Nobody picked it up. We went to every radio station in America trying to get the song on, and they weren't interested.
But hidden on the B-side is something far more important, an a cappella. And that, House Apella, is about to change everything. Ever wondered why DJs seem to have better versions of tracks than everyone else? That's because pro DJs aren't always playing the original mix. They're playing exclusive edits produced especially for DJs. But you won't find them on Spotify, Beatport, or YouTube because they never get released. Where you'll find them is on Doing the Damage, the sponsor of this video and the only specialist DJ pool for house, disco and tech DJs. There's a discount link below or scan the QR code on screen now for more info. It's the late 80s and rave culture is exploding across the UK. DJ Erin Abdullah is digging through vinyl in Soho's Quaff Records. That's where he finds You Got the Love on 12-inch. He might not have been the first DJ to use this a cappella, but he was certainly the first to mash it up with Your Love in his sets at London's Solaris nightclub. John Truelove sees its potential and records a bootleg mix in a leaking attic above a London squat. No sampler, nothing fancy, just borrowed recording equipment and Erin mixing it live. Pressed to white label vinyl in 1989, it's distributed by hand to UK record shops by John Truelove. The song blows up on dance floors across the UK, but labels reject it. So John takes matters into his own hands. In 1990, he visits Chicago and secures the rights to both the instrumental from Jamie Principle and Candi Staton's vocals from writers John Bellamy and Anthony B. Stevens. Truelove decides to adopt The Source as his artist name, and the track is eventually officially released in 1991.
By the way, everybody, we're talking about my own song, You Got the Love. I released under the Source featuring Candi Staton.
At first, Radio 1 refuses to play the track, with breakfast DJ Simon Mayo commenting the music and vocals are out of key. And to be fair, they are, but the public doesn't care. The track climbs the charts and eventually Radio 1 plays the song.
And it was out, gosh, my goodness, it was out probably 6 weeks before I even knew it was out. I had forgotten I made the song. They called me and said, "You got a number to top 10 record." I said, "What? You've got to be joking." Wow. And they told me it was called You Got the Love or Love something. I said, "Oh, I didn't make a record like that. I don't remember making a record like that." Because I had made so many other records. Sure.
It peaks at number 4 in the UK charts, but the story doesn't end there. I think the first time I heard this song was in Busker's nightclub in Carlisle. I was on a night out with schoolmates and I can taste the Smirnoff Ice and feel the sticky carpets under my feet right now. But what memories do you have of this track? Where did you hear it and who were you with? Let me know in the comments below. I'd really love to know. Just when you think the story's over, it comes back. In 1997, Truelove returns, this time with the Now Voyager mix, a completely reworked version with a new musical direction. It peaks at number 3 in the UK charts and is used by a host of TV shows.
What's shaking, baby?
And is covered by multiple artists. But strip it all back and it's still 2 records, both recorded in Chicago and combined in London to create one of the most important dance records ever made. I've dropped links in the description to all the tracks featured that I could find. And if you love dance music history, hit subscribe now, there's loads more to come. And if you haven't already, check out my videos on Fatboy Slim and The Prodigy.